Hello, it's your boy Zach coming in with another episode of 321 Presents. Of course, I'll have brought along with me my counterpart and co-host Nick.
Howdy, howdy.
And it's been an interesting week, particularly in the sports category. I haven't heard much in the movies and TVs, but we'll talk a little bit about it today. Where would you like to begin our journey through our podcast?
Let's go ahead and knock out all this sports nonsense.
Sports world has been interesting, to say the least. We'll jump into the sport that's currently going on, the baseball world. The big news that happened earlier today, or yesterday, one of the two, the Walter Penner family decided that we want in on them Colorado Rockies and now have a 40% ownership stake in them Rockies there.
Yeah, a very interesting surprise for this Friday morning. I think it was like bright and early today that they made that announcement. A welcome change, I think. I try not to get too excited about the actions of billionaires, but the Penner Group as ownership has proven to be doing all the right things so far in their tenure in the Broncos ownership spot. So I do have to say it's probably good. Like, that is really best case scenario for the Rockies as a franchise to get a different, more competent group of sports ownership people involved in the process now.
We know them as an ownership group. They do have expressed that they do not like to or nor want to lose in the product that we've seen from the Broncos from the first year they got here to the second to where we are today and on. It seemed to be good progress for us, especially as fans of said Bronco team. I'm interested to see how much input they get on the Colorado Rockies, because they are the 40% minority stake. When in the post does read they have a minority stake, which makes it sound like they have a little percent or two, but no, 40% is a good chunk.
That's a very large chunk. That's definitely going to get some say in the process. The thing I found interesting was sort of the timeline about it, was that the Penners and the Monforts kind of started discussing business about this opening day of last season. And so looking back on the timeline of the sort of out of character moves that we've seen the franchise make since then, I wonder if maybe like a little tinfoil conspiracy, because there's no sources for this or anything, but I wonder if, the Penners were like, hey, we want to kind of see some of these things happening before we officially get involved, type of thing, where it's like, yes, this is an organization that is willing to do things differently now. Yeah,
as we know here in the Mile High City, the Monforts are all about that money, Mr. Krabs style. And for them to get some Walmart money, I assume is something maybe they could approach. They'll be like, hey, would you have any interest in this, and what does that look like?
Yeah, from a business standpoint, it's huge. What I read is that the hundreds of millions of dollars based on a $1.6 something billion team valuation that the Penners are bringing to the table here basically clears the Rockies of their debt, and kind of, as we know with their involvement in the Broncos, this is an ownership group that is not afraid to spend the money to make necessary investments, update infrastructure, all sorts of things to do what it takes to make a better product and a winning product. And that's very exciting.
Speaking of them damn Rockies, how about them ruining our...
Yeah, no winners this week.
Absolutely not.
With a 3-game sweep of the Houston Astros, our Rockies
have reached their peak.
I mean, so here's a funny thing I saw. We were 5-5 at the time or something, or 6-6. It was the first time, it was the latest in the season our record was 500 or better since 2022.
Ooh.
4 years of we have been absolutely abysmal already at this point in the season, less than 10 games in or something. So, yeah, first, I mean, it's a big caveat, the bullet point asterisk on this one is, of course, we are still in the magical first 2 weeks of the season where anything can happen and everything looks wonky.
That is just like the statistical odds of you cannot even get back to 500 in the first 2 weeks of the season is so insane.
It's a night and day difference, though, in the product. Aside from the opening day kind of fluke of a beatdown.
It's going to happen sometimes. You don't get to choose the day.
And those dudes, yeah, just kind of, you get thrown a few of those in every 162 game season. So just unfortunate timing on that. But otherwise, we have largely been competitive in all of these games. And in Houston, winning winning all of them, surprisingly.
Beating Houston, who we've struggled with in history, at least for my recent memory. Beating the Toronto Blue Jays, who were in the World Series last year. Still struggled with Miami. I don't know about that.
Well,
one.
Miami also putting up the thing I saw was the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Pirates have all put up about a 500 opening, which is much better than anyone anticipated for any of these franchises.
Who are usually historically abysmal.
And we've seen struggles from Toronto, from Boston. It took the Yankees a couple games to get going. Seattle, who was also in that Eastern Conference final, has had a rough start to the season. So, kind of a funhouse mirror of what the teams look like in these first couple weeks. If we're still talking about the Rockies this way after a month, as we're getting into the J months, into June and July, then that will be certainly more substantial, but definitely just a better product to sample so far.
I'm interested because the last couple years, like particularly after 2023, kind of 24 and 25, we've kind of seen a little bit of a decline in just the overall attendance of the Rockies and viewership of the Rockies, mostly because we don't have a TV network anymore. No one really wants to carry the Rockies for what reason?
Yeah, to no one's financial benefit.
But having the Walter Penner Group come in, having the Rockies win, even last week we had, I think, our record low attendance for any game in a long, long time with 15,000, I think, that was in the attendance.
The fact that opening day, I don't think, was a sellout is huge. That would, in the first 20 some years of the franchise, it was unthinkable that was a sellout, like basically citywide holiday.
I am interested. I would be curious to see how much the Walter Penner Group, I know they're very heavily involved with the Broncos, who are the beloved team of the state, but if they are parts of, and potentially maybe a major part of turning around the dumpster fire that's been the Colorado Rockies, I mean, having them up there with the Kroenke name, I think is pretty close for them.
That, I think, seems to be the move happening because, this Penner Group seems to be interested, and I think this bodes well from, again, a business standpoint into what are admittedly biased feelings about Denver as one of the premier sports cities in the country. If the Walmart family is like, hey, no, we want to get in as much as we can on as many teams as we can in the city. Unfortunately, the Kroenkes have bought up a lot of the good real estate in that department, but there are, as we know, ever more leagues coming on. We know that the PWHL is going to be expanding again soon here, a fairly aggressive growth plan from that league, and we just got Summit in town. All sorts of potential investment opportunities.
Yeah, it really helps that they have ownership in the Denver Broncos because it's ideally, I would assume you want all your teams to be around. You can't be traveling Denver to Maine to wherever else.
Ideally not. Stan has to make that trip out to LA for the Rams now.
Yeah, I mean, they do have Walmart money and Kroenke money, and it's different out there. You just hop on your private jet, but jet fare be expensive still.
Yeah, for sure, especially in these wild gas price times. But I do think that bodes well for that for our beloved franchise. I have to think, based on all of this, that and we discussed this in messaging off mic, that the Rockies are ranking pretty low in the brand coolness metrics. Hat sales bad. Hat design not good.
Our City Connect or whatever jerseys are always just so garbage too.
Well, yeah, we can roll that in. We do have a fresh batch of City Connects coming out this year as well.
We didn't get one
to compare to.
Yeah.
Well, we were in the first batch last year. This is still that same like line of alternates coming out. So we're gonna be in those sunset purples that you love so much for at least another year or two, I imagine.
God. I guess it's better than the license plate, but not by much.
I do like the color scheme still. If they keep this up, I may go ahead and reinvest in some Rockies gear. But so far, my Carlos Gonzalez jersey will remain, and my car will remain without a Rockies sticker for now.
Hey, he's beloved. He's a town hero.
Absolutely. While we're still talking about these Rockies, let's get predictions in for the coming week ahead. We are in the midst of a 4-game series in San Diego against the Padres. Our old friend Herman Marquez in the bullpen out there, I think now. I don't know if you saw last night, they took a 3-3 tie into the bottom of the 12th out there.
I told, because I took the old folks to play last night, but I told them better to throw on the coffee because this one doesn't feel like it's going to end.
I mean,
got people leaving out bloodied or whatever.
The West Coast games already start so late.
We're in California too.
Yeah. And then, they went extra innings into the 12th and then lost on a walk-off grand slam behind 2 intentional walks. Going for it. It was a pretty high risk, high reward move. You go for the guy in their lineup he's either going to crush it or hit a ground ball double play. And the ground ball double play would have gotten us out of the inning. Instead, he crushed it. Yeah,
we also, listening to it on the way back with the old folks and your mom in the car, we had about 100 errors trying to throw the ball around and get the ball off the ground.
The wild thing about it is the team is still very bad, just from a talent comparison.
Which is because we didn't do anything, which is expected.
Yes, on par for expectations this year. But, so yes, we have 3 more games against those Padres, and then we are going to Houston for 3 games against the Astros. We're going to see them again right away. So of those 6 games, how do you think our Rocks are going to do come next Friday?
2 and 4. Yeah, I think we can steal one from the Padres, and I think we'll steal one from the Astros after they probably slaughter us on a revenge tour a little bit in their hometown, I assume.
I will play the optimist this week. I say they go 500, 3-3.
3-3, huh?
I think we're going to pull 2 out of this Padres series and at least 1 from the Stros. I don't think we sweep them again. That would be wild. And then after those 2 series, and if you've searched for tickets to anything recently, you'll know that the Rockies are hosting the Dodgers for the first time coming up 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
I have no clue what the Rocky schedule is. It's on
it's one of the few series that they really amp up the marketing for, at least on my side of things.
I do know May 2nd is the fourth wing night.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Nuggets just did theirs also, didn't they?
Yeah, we did it last home game.
Very good. Then you're down for 2 and 4. I'm down for 3 and 3. Did you see the other baseball news this week? There was a big brawl.
I did see the big brawl for, I don't know why they were brawling. I assume somebody threw a ball somewhere.
The history between that was...
Also, why is everyone fighting these days? Why are we so angry?
That was Reynaldo Lopez on the mound throwing pitches at Jorge Soler.
I like that he's not throwing them.
I mean, that was kind of why the beef. So in this game in particular, Jorge Soler in his first at bat hit a home run, crushed one to left field. In his second at bat, gets a 96 mile an hour fastball up in on the hands, hit by pitch, takes his base. Is not happy about that. In at bat number 3, the first pitch he sees is a 97 mile an hour fastball up at his eyes, but it's so high and inside that the catcher misses it. And it's a wild pitch. There's a runner on base. He runs out to second. While they're recovering from that and getting ready, Soler in the batter's box has just been staring down Lopez the entire time. And before they even get the ball back to the pitcher's mound to get set up for the next pitch in the at-bat, fellas decide that they're going to duke it out. And we saw some unorthodox fighting technique. There's certainly nothing as refined as the hockey pugilists and their elegant dance. In fact, Lopez pulled off a move that no one had really could remember seeing before in a baseball game. He kept the ball in hand and used it as a weapon against Soler.
I don't think you can do that.
Fortunately, he went more for the helmet than anything else, but he did get one pretty clean smack across the face with the ball in hand. Both gentlemen received 7-game suspensions for their affair, for their responsibility. The bench is cleared, as is tradition in baseball, and old friend of the Rockies and former manager, now currently managing the Atlanta Braves, Walt Weiss, a secret little cameo in this video because he is the one who restrains Jorge Soler with a really technically sound tackle wrap up around the legs.
I think he has some martial art experience if I remember reading. He's like a black belt or something.
I believe that. He certainly executed that move with precision.
Like, how do you avoid everybody and also just...
Yeah, he was boom on it. And then Ronaldo Lopez of the Braves was restrained by Mike Trout.
That's a thick guy.
And that's a pretty... Yeah, when Mike Trout puts his arms on you and says, hey... Calm down.
Calm down, little buddy.
You go ahead and say, yeah, whatever you say, Mike.
Not because I want to, because I can't move anymore, Mike.
So that was the big brawl. And then my call out of the week for gameplay and baseball excellence, Joe Adell, right fielder of the Angels, stole 3 home runs in one game in a 1-0 game.
Were they at home?
Yes, they were in, and so home run number 3 was in the top of the 9th, or bottom of the 9th inning. No, top of the 9th. And it was like it cut for the very short corner in right field. And he manages to balance on his hip on the top of the wall to make the catch so that it is still a good out before falling into the crowd. And then one of the most iconic shots, like from several different cool angles, of him standing in the second row, holding up the home run he just stole, while like all the fans go crazy around him. Career over. That's
for sure.
your highlight.
I have another issue with baseball here. In the rest of the sports world, hockey, soccer, the ones I'm talking about mostly, if the ball crosses the line,
oh yeah,
it's gone.
Yep, no saving it. Baseball, the rule is if you're still in the field of play, which is why the hip on the wall balancing is so important. If he had been purely in the air and then fell in the stands, it would have been a home run. But because he's still touching the wall, it counts as a good steal.
No.
I love a good home run steal.
I like a good home run steal, but also...
It's a great game mechanic.
We need to...
It doesn't work in the other ones. It's BS if a goalie catches the puck in the net and then brings it out. That's nothing. Different when the man runs it down from 50 feet away and catches it on the fly.
Yeah, it's nothing catching the hundreds of mile an hour puck whizzing by.
Not always.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yes, that was all the baseball highlights I had.
In the world of basketball, as it's currently going on, we are still ever so heading towards the NBA playoffs. Our Denver Nuggets have made their way up to 3rd. They've been on a little bit of a run here. I think they're up to 9 now, if not 10.
I believe 10,
I think it's 10, which is the longest streak in Nikola Jokic history of wins. Longest win streak in Nuggets Nikola Jokic history.
That's a little wild because Melo probably had a longer one, didn't he?
Probably with
I feel like
with a Chauncey or an AI. Yeah, we've had a couple good years with Melo around, but 10 in a row, nothing to sneeze at. We got another game tonight, I do believe. We do have to unfortunately go to Oklahoma City. So
I know we're locked into a playoff spot. Are we any clearer on seeding yet, or is that still juggling through these last few games?
Still juggling a little bit. We're anywhere from 3rd to 5. 6 is out of the question. I think that's fair to say. The Timberwolves are secure in that 6th spot, but us, the Lakers and Rockets, are all 1 game away from each other. The Spurs had an incredible season, and they're just 3 games behind the Thunder, who are way ahead of everyone else in the league.
Yeah, that checks out. So 3, at the best, and then that would put us up against the Timberwolves?
Depends.
If they lock in at 6?
Yeah.
That sounds less than ideal for round 1.
I mean, I'm not really scared of anyone. I'm not really scared of anyone throughout the division, to be the most frank.
I definitely haven't seen much of them this year, but just historically, Timberwolves have been a tough series.
They're way down, way down from where they are because unfortunately they had the thing where they had all the young players come up and it was time for payday, and you kind of had to pick and choose, and not everyone got to be a part of that payday and had to get sent off elsewhere. I mean, we're gonna see that sort of this offseason, deciding between what's up with Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson, or why are we still playing Zeke Naji so damn much to chill out on the bench.
Yeah, he got a little playing time this year.
He did in the blowouts and when we were down to our very last men.
And he did fine.
He was fine. You should have sold him off at his high, but neither here nor there. Other news around the basketball world, the WNBA kind of kicked off their free agency. We've had a number of different designations, so people are in talks. The draft is coming up here very, very soon. I think it is even beginning this weekend, if not tonight, as we record on this Friday.
Yeah, they're moving fast in that offseason. I saw a few of the big name, what should be free agents have already recommitted to their teams. Nafisa, Brianna, Sabrina is also there's been a lot of people re-signing, getting different designations and whatnot for their teams. Yeah. Lots of money flying around, which is great here, especially after our CBA and our much, much more expanded 400% pay increase just flat across the board.
It's insane.
You love to see it.
But the big news for the WNBA is Angel Reese is on the move, leaving Chicago. The Bayou Babe is heading down to Atlanta. They gave up a couple draft picks, and Chicago
2 first rounders.
Yep, Chicago says we will take those. You guys get Angel Reese. So down there, they have basically a 3-headed monster of bigs that they can play with. Brittany Griner, her, and another special big that they have down there.
And I saw Alicia Gray is in talks to head down there too.
Well, she's been down there. She just needs to re-sign down there.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that is going to be a dangerous lineup there. And then, did you see any of the gossipy drama posts about Angel Reese might have been toxic in the Chicago locker room?
Well, from what we know, right, last year the Sky did not perform how everyone was hoping that they would, especially after Angel's first season. She did have the surgery and did miss, I think, the beginning part of it, especially after she got hurt playing down in Miami for the Unrivaled. So
yeah,
that, and then Cardozo kind of having to leave to go play in Brazil for whatever reason for the national team. But they didn't perform how they thought they should. Angel was upset, and in her mind, she was the best player on the team, and it's hard to argue that she wasn't.
Yeah.
And she said, I want people around me that want to be here and play and do a bunch of stuff. And other people kind of took that a little bit to heart, which I also get, because sometimes you don't get to make the decisions.
Indeed. Yeah. And certainly I'm sure there are a lot of people in the established system who you would kind of balk at, like a rookie making any sort of demands.
Wasn't a rookie. It was a first year, but
Sure. Yeah. So that definitely was one of the bigger shakeups in the W landscape as well. Have we finished March Madness now?
We have finished March Madness. The winners come out, Michigan on the men's side and UCLA capturing their first title on the women's side. A lot of interesting things. I mean, Michigan pretty dominant all the way through. UCLA whooping on old South Carolina and Don Staley in the championship. I think it was like a 20-point victory or whatever it was. It was a large margin victory, double digits, all scored by their 3 seniors who are heading into the WNBA draft this weekend, one of which being a Colorado native and champion.
Very impressive for the seniors to just go out and kind of dominate in a championship. Like, that's got to feel good too, in terms of all-time sports moments.
Your seniors coming out, playing their heart outs for their very last games, going to head off to the WNBA, but also capturing the first title in school history.
That's a nice, in your youth, right into the sunset moment type of thing.
Very much so.
You go down as a school legend no matter what now.
Yep. Across the NCAA, though, a little bit of drama. Gino, who is the coach over there at UConn, had a little bit of a yelling match with Dawn after the end of the game because he was frustrated with coaching and kind of took it out on her a little bit after saying she didn't shake his hand before the game and took it as disrespect. But he has since acknowledged that he was in the wrong. Didn't really apologize, but did say he was out of character.
Did agree that he behaved poorly. Did not actually say my bad.
No, the craziest thing was he was completely crashing out over one of his players' torn jersey that he thought happened in game, which did happen in game, but she tore her own jersey, which makes it look even more insane.
Yeah, one of those things was like, man, you really flew off the handle here for nothing.
Yeah, because he's yelling at the refs in the press, like, I got a girl running around here with a torn jersey. The ref here is a fish, like, insane, and everyone goes back and like that. It looks like she's tearing her own jersey there. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing with totally a side tangent of how they don't really have enough women designing the apparel still, so the apparel that goes to women has to be heavily modified to be worn comfortably.
A little bit. I mean, the jerseys that you get are...
I mean, that's a whole other separate thing too about who's producing the quality jerseys these days.
You have to determine between how light and weight do I want this to be, but also how much grabbing and pulling do you have to design for?
And
much like back in the NFL days when they had the tearaway jerseys.
It's I think that's a good concept, the tearaway. That always makes for a good look when you got the people
just
like
the pads on and no jersey.
The little cape of a number still trailing behind you.
Yeah, you have to have 100 jerseys on deck for each of your players for every game. That ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, probably not.
The other crazy news inside of the women's, Tennessee has no players on their roster currently. Not a single one. All of them are either in the transfer portal or graduating.
Whoops. Yeah, that's bad roster management. Whose fault does that go to? The sports athletic director?
I don't know whose fault that. I mean, you could blame the coach for maybe she didn't manage the players correctly. The athletic directors for...
Someone's got to have eyes on the timeline and be like, hey, where's all the underclassmen?
Well, they're in the transfer portal because that's an option now.
Okay. The first thing that pops to mind for me is toxic environment if everyone's jumping ship.
Potentially.
Like, if all of the people who are like, I could start on this team, or...
The only person on the roster is the coaching staff.
Wild.
And that's assuming that they are all there.
I guess if you're looking for a spot to play this year... Not a lot of competition.
You got options. You have literally 15 different slots you could possibly fill, if not 12. 10 real if you're going to probably play or see the floor at all. 15 if you just want to be on the team.
That is wild, because we are still, seeing what the environment of the NIL transfer portal college sports world looks like, and it's wild compared to what the old days used to be.
No, it's pretty close to being a professional sport right now, where you have to negotiate the contracts and all this stuff.
It reminds me a little bit of our ABS system in baseball, where it's like, okay, we're seeing in certain instances how this is working really well, right? And like, why are we bothering to not do it this way all the time?
But final news inside of the NCAA world, our good old friend who we know and love here, some may call him the Lakers daddy, Michael Malone, heading off to UNC after not finding a job, just chilling out for another basketball season, decided to take his talents off to North Carolina.
Which I saw not many North Carolina fans were psyched about. At least the ones I saw that were not psyched were pretty loud about it.
North Carolina's having a little bit of struggle. They're having to battle their alumni who are fighting amongst each others. They have had a kind of a terrible season.
They have to watch
not North Carolina type seasons that they've had in the past.
Yeah, there's a certain expected pedigree at UNC for sure, and between the football program and now. Because I guess the big drama about that decision is that Coach Malone is a pure NBA coach that has no college experience at the moment. So I guess there is concern about the fit and that transfer between the two different styles of coaching.
It's different down there for sure, but who knows? He's taken a year off. I mean, UNC seems to be thinking maybe the especially nowadays with the way that NIL is going, maybe the professional coaches are the ones that you need to bring in because you have to manage the kids who are also now making the money that you...
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's the selling point is this is a guy who knows what it takes to make it in the NBA.
Yeah, he knows how to manage all these extremely large egos. Not that they weren't large before, but the money on top of it is a little bit more the cherry on top of the... So,
and yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made for, treating if they want to play like professionals, treat them like professionals type of thing from a just philosophy standpoint.
Very much so. So him and Bill Belichick are down there in North Carolina. Be fun to see. I'm interested to see how his first season goes and what North Carolina looks like under him, and happy he has a job, and especially that we don't have to go face him.
Good for him. Glad to see he's landed some. That does sound like a good opportunity, I think, for like a new chapter.
No better place to go, particularly in college, unless you're going to one of the other like top named schools like Duke, who's down the street, or one of the other SECs.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on in that hockey world.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to announce that last night, with a 3-1 victory over the Calgary Flames, our Colorado Avalanche have secured the President's Trophy for the 25-26 season for the fourth time in franchise history.
Scary.
A little bit. So far, we are 1-2 in terms of winning the cup with that President's Trophy, but we have done it once before, and we can do it again.
The odds. I'm a stats guy. The odds.
The odds are not in our favor for that particular wrinkle.
If someone didn't break the pattern, we'd be very good set up for next year.
Yeah, that's not ideal for the way the roster's set up, I don't think. But either way, yeah, the team is locked in now, number 1 seed. We have the home ice advantage all the way through. Huge advantage there theoretically, but you got to play up to your stadium and your fans and all that. As far as the team goes, the good news, the power play looking the best it's looked all year. For whatever reason, having Kadri not even on the ice all the time, but just back in the locker room has somehow unlocked a lot of anxiety and weird tension that had been building up on the power play unit. And they're just kind of wheeling and dealing out there now, much closer to the pace that we expected from the talent level on the roster. Helps
a whole lot when you have a sniper out there. You stand there.
That's the biggest thing to me is Kadri's not afraid to just shoot it every once in a while. We got way too caught up for a long time in predictable zone entries that were getting broken up so we couldn't set up. B, when we were set up, it's very easy to just keep the play out to the perimeter and make Makar and McKinnon dance around out on the blue line. But if you slide it over to Kadri after 2 touches, he's like, no, I'm shooting.
Now, you guys had a chance. You touched the puck.
Yeah.
It's back to me now.
And that's exactly what they needed, because now it's like, okay, shoot, rebound, get it, pass, shoot, rebound, pass, get it.
It's almost like you have a man advantage or something.
It's wild.
Insane.
Yeah. So that is looking good, and we love how that's trending. Unfortunately, Nas did get injured. Looks like possibly took a slap shot to the hand type of thing. We are assured he will see a game before playoffs time, but it is really maintenance, and
you have the cup now. Now it's just no one get hurt and just kind of try to build all those or everyone back to health.
Yeah, roughly from the outside you would say Natchez is chasing 100 points, his first 100-point season. Mac is still trying to run down the Art Ross and a Rocket Richard trophy. We do have to shout out Cole Hudson for the Montreal Canadiens in his second year is breathing right down Nathan McKinnon's neck for the goal race right now. Just put up his 50th of the year, which as a second-year player, 50 is crazy to do in any year of your career, but to do it in your second year, very impressive. Nate is now at 52, I want to say, as of our recording time here. But that is also, if you know anything about Nathan McKinnon, that is the thing he is least concerned about now at this point in the season.
He does not care. Everyone's cut off from pasta now in general.
Yeah, for sure. You're eating Nate's recipes and following his workout schedule.
Be depressed. Be like, Chef Nate, all it is boiled chicken all the time.
No, there's some fish mixed in there as well.
No. I can't imagine he's a kind of a sushi guy because there's rice there.
You don't get the sushi now.
Probably not a fan of the rice.
Yeah, that's bad carbs for sure. That is, the big notes in the Avs world. In terms of the wider league, it is now the Stars trying to fend off the Wild, which is hilarious. Out in the East, the Hurricanes have locked up the number 1 spot out there. The Sabres lead their division. The Canadiens are going to be in the playoffs again for just the second time in 10 years. Our defending champion back-to-back Panthers will not three-peat. They have been eliminated from playoff contention already.
They've been killing each other playing international with the Chucks and whatnot. They're our American team.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a big injury year, fall off for a couple of guys. They just never got it going. Currently, in the Pacific, The Oilers are at the top of the division, but there is a chance that they still could miss the playoffs entirely.
That's insane.
Because of the weird... So the top 2 teams of divisions get seeding, and then of the teams that aren't the tops of the division is where you take like the wild card from. And the wild card is right with the pacing, because the wild card is coming from the central teams. Like the Mammoth have more points than the Oilers right now, but are out. They're a wild card spot. So if the Oilers don't keep up pace, they are going to get flip-flopped by, I think the Kings are going to catch up with them. Oh, the Ducks are right on their tail. Golden Knights are right on their tail. So there's still a fun little... some seats are not yet safe and locked in our playoff race out on the West. So that's kind of fun. That's about the only thing I get to look forward to in these last few weeks. And just, fingers crossed that we are avoiding all our injuries.
It's crazy that whenever you trade a Rantanen away, you seem to get better.
Apparently. Other news. So we talked last week about the Wild end of year, last second head coaching change. And then right after we recorded that, the Islanders said, hold my beer, we can do it even closer to the end of the season, and relieved Patrick Roy of his coaching duties.
Didn't he just get there?
This would have been his second year. He took over at the end of the season before last. Last year was his first full season. This would have been his second. So he is out for ex-Dallas Stars head coach Pete DeBoer, who had been sitting on the sidelines waiting for a job all year. And the sort of thing was like, if that's the guy that you want to target, if you wait till the offseason, he's not going to be available. So make the move now.
It's so insane to hire a permanent coach. Like, how is that allowed?
The next wildest thing about that is that the new reporting coming out just earlier today is that Patrick Roy might not leave the Islanders organization.
My man's going to get promoted or what?
He might stick around for scouting. I don't know
what
that makes. It's a wild, because if you know anything about Patrick Roy, it's that at almost every destination, this is like the first coaching job in the NHL he's had where he wasn't also the GM.
Fair.
Even the junior team that he learned how to be a head coach at in the Quebec Major Junior League, he was the general manager of.
Makes sense.
And that was part of why he left in Colorado in his first stint, was he wanted more roster building responsibilities.
I need more power.
So, it is a little wild to think. Maybe he has mellowed in his older age and realized
absolutely not.
He does not need as much.
My man he said, you know what? I want I want the most difficult job you could possibly give me. I never want to see my family again. Please just send me to go be a scout somewhere.
I mean, certainly you'd think he's like head of scouting or something where he doesn't have to actually go do the travel.
He's not going to trust anybody. He's like, you're terrible. You're awful. I'm going to just go do it myself.
But so the main takeaway just being that, like, despite them not actually being that unhappy with Patrick Roy's job, they just kind of felt like they wanted this other guy to be head coach, and that Patrick Roy may not be that offended, ?
He's like, listen, we like you, but this other guy's better. He's like, do you guys have anything else for me? He's like, can I be the general manager? They're like, no.
To that, no.
We do have a spot next to the guy that you'll be able to talk to him a whole lot, though. He's like, I'll take that one.
Yeah. And then last hockey news, the PWHL standings. We've only had a couple more games in the book since last week. The Sirens remain in 6th place, still 3 points behind the last place for the playoff seeding, with Toronto's 34.
I believe.
But otherwise,
that's just a win.
That's one full regulation win away from being locked up in that 4 spot. So odds are in your favor.
I like it.
5 games left in the season for the Sirens. They also, that is the most left as well. So they do still have the most points left on the board to grab. But yeah, officially Montreal, Boston, and Minnesota locked into the 1, 2, and 3.
I'm shocked.
Oh, Montreal has actually leapfrogged over Boston for the 1 spot, which it does them no good.
I was going to say, what are they going to do with it?
They're going to pick their opponent and then lose in the first round again, according to history. But that was, I think, all the sports news this week.
Well, as it is my podcast, at least my week to edit the podcast and sort of take us down the trip of this podcast. We know we can't leave here without some big thinkings and thoughts.
Okay.
So let's say you get to play him in my hypothetical world that I have designed for you.
Oh boy.
Always very so meanly, might I add. In this world, things have gone wrong. World, let's say, just gets blown up or whatever, and
oh no,
you get with the last person, and the creators, whatever you want to believe in, they come and say, "All right, little buddy, we have some options for you. We can reset this guy. However, only thing is we are going to delete all the fiction and series that you know about, and you only get to keep one. They don't get recreated. They'll be completely forgotten, but you get to keep one of them guys. If you create any movies, it's got to be fictional movies, got to be based around this, TV series, video games, books. You can expand the world however you like. You can continue to branch off and do all that stuff, but you don't get the rest. What are you going to pick?
I mean, it feels a little bit like cheating to this question to say like Dungeons and Dragons, because the multiverse already exists in the scope of the story world there, and within that I could then spin out every other media property that's ever existed. Essentially, you
kind of could, but it wouldn't be the same. Like, you're going to lose Pokemon, you're going to lose your sort of Star Wars-esque things. You can recreate it a little bit, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. That's true, but that is also, I mean, this happened, this is less hypothetical and more just an examination of how time cycles, because like for the most part that has already happened to an era of human civilization where their stuff has all gotten wiped out and like maybe one book remain. In fact, that's like what we consider Gilgamesh now. It's like that one little story that we saved from ancient Mesopotamia writing. And then that is basically, I guess the answer to your question is it's already happened and it's Gilgamesh. Because that is one of our earliest recorded epic stories, and it does share a lot of DNA with a lot of other storytelling through the thing. Because, I think philosophically what I would say, my answer to your question is that it doesn't really matter what you pick. Storytelling is in human nature, even if you weren't allowed to say it. Like if Darth Vader was like sucked out of human consciousness or whatever, you'd still come up with a story eventually of the troubled father-son dynamic. Like you'd still come up with, maybe it wouldn't be the same as Shakespeare, but there would be dramatic storytelling of star-crossed lovers and feuding families and things of that. And like some of it is just so inherent into the human experience that it comes out no matter what. How
much of it do you care about as like the storytelling versus like the world building itself? So like something like Pokemon, where the storytelling's not super deep, for a lot of the casuals at least, but the world is very, very well built out around these characters and these things and monsters and whatnot, versus like a Dungeons and Dragons where it's all very story based and the things around it are sort of just like supporting.
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that I think I have come to appreciate more the more I learn about the craft of storytelling and the sort of the historical context of it, and also the notion of how to dissect what writers and like creators were saying with the way that their worlds are constructed. And like in that specific example, like Pokemon, as we touched on a little bit last week, is a wholesome world essentially, where humans are trying to build these very good positive connections with other humans and with their Pokemon companions. Like that's one of the overriding reminding themes is like befriend the Pokemon, befriend other people. If you're mean to Pokemon, if you try to undercut people, that makes you the bad guy. But like a very specific thing about Pokemon, bad guys can be redeemed. No one is so awful that they...
Jesse and James do it all the time. And
Jesse and James are lovable goofs. Like the Legends EA thing, one of the big narrative takeaways that they do make is that like two of the worst villains in the story between like Lysander and Az both get like some redemption arc things going on where I think like the most evil person we've met in Pokemon lore is like Giovanni, and he is the epitome of like big bad and whatnot. But like, so having that as, you know, that says something about Pokemon world and what its values are. That Giovanni, the scheming, slick back hair businessman, is the worst character we know. Versus a Dungeons and Dragons type thing is like the thing I love about Dungeons and Dragons, there's a level of specificity when you like focus in on an area, and then you can also have just completely wide, loose brush strokes of implied stuff that your imagination can also fill in with its own stuff. So different strokes for different folks. The one is trying to be a framework for you to fill in. One is a very complete idea with its own like logic and ecosystem built in. But both are, I think you would, in the hypothetical situation, from a blank slate, you eventually get something that looks like both of those again. I think is my answer to that.
Fair enough. I think that's all I had for this week.
Got you thinking on that one, huh?
Did. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
We're going to get our Malcolm reboot that releases this weekend, I think.
Released yesterday.
Oh, dropped last night.
Yep.
Okay. 4-episode miniseries, I guess, is the format on this one.
I thought it was more than that.
I also thought it was going to be a season, but no, it's more of a little mini event, I guess. So I'll try and get that in and have a review for next week. But
yep. We have one more episode of Scrubs left to go.
Oh, boy. So that's also kind of a short bit of a season.
They did, but they're expected to, like, they're going to go
renew it for another.
Oh, yeah, it's already
batch.
been renewed. I think they signed on for 2 to begin and then more potentially later, which, as it is, I think they're going to be all right.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Then I think that's everything I had for this week as well.
Very good. Take us out.
Yeah, thanks for sticking along for an episode of 321 Presents. Wherever you're listening to us right now, whether that be on a podcatcher or on the YouTubes, hey, make sure you're subscribed or following or whatever the prompt is on the interface that you are currently listening to us through. And if you really want to make our day, leave us a little comment, a 5-star review, Venmo us, all that good stuff. And as always, you can find all our episodes and all our fine podcasting products at our website, 321pods.com, 321pods.com. And yeah, that has been it for this week. We are off to PokeCon. So we'll also have a little field report from what got down on the trading card floor.
And more.
Indeed. So until next week, I have been your co-host, Nick, with my host with the most, Zach.
See you guys next week.
Adios.